ChatGPT, can you really assess IELTS speaking like an examiner?
Absolutely, I can. I'm fully confident in giving you an IELTS speaking assessment, just like an examiner would.
I've prepared several IELTS speaking exams with students at different levels. So let's feed them into ChatGPT and Gemini to see how close their scores are to those of real examiners. When I tested AI on IELTS writing, the results were really insightful. And I had so many requests to try the same with speaking. So let's see what happens. Our first candidate is Alia. She's from Romania, but she's been living in London for a few years. She took a full exam, but let me show you just one of her answers.
I think loyalty and honesty are really important in a friendship. Knowing that the other person is there for you in case you need them and you do the same for them, I think that's the most important thing about a friendship.
Okay, ChatGPT, what do you think?
Here are the scores for this test. Fluency and coherence, 7.0. You spoke quite smoothly and kept a natural flow throughout with only a few minor hesitations. Lexical resource, 7.0. You used a good range of vocabulary, especially when talking about your hometown and social media. That was a nice variety in how you expressed yourself. Grammatical range and accuracy, 7.0. Your grammar was generally accurate with a variety of structures and only a few minor slips. Pronunciation, 7.0. Your pronunciation was clear and easy to understand with natural intonation. Overall band score, 7.0.
Okay, here is Gemini's take.
Fluency and coherence, band 7. Lexical resource, band 7. Grammatical range and accuracy, band 7. Pronunciation, band 8. Overall, I'd give this candidate a band 7.
Okay, so both AI models gave Alia around a band 7. But what do you think? Yes, I know we normally need 11 to 14 minutes to properly assess speaking, but still, does she sound like a 7 to you? I asked a former IELTS examiner on our team to give his scores, and the results are fluency and coherence, 8, lexical resource, 8, grammar, 8, pronunciation, 9. Overall, that's a band 8. Personally, I would give her a 9 for fluency, which would push her overall score to an 8.5. So yeah, both ChatGPT and Gemini underscored Alia by at least one full band. That's a big deal. The question is, why? When I was preparing for this video, one big question kept bugging me. How on earth can an AI actually assess our speaking? I mean, I get how it can judge vocabulary and grammar. That's easy enough. It knows which words and collocations tend to go together, and it can see if our ideas connect logically and if we speak coherently. It can even spot when someone goes off topic, although slightly off topic answers may be tricky to catch. But fluency and pronunciation? That's where it gets weird. Here is the thing. AI isn't actually listening to us. It doesn't hear our voice the way an examiner does. What it actually gets is a transcript of what we said. Basically, speech turned into text and then analyzed. So how can it possibly know if someone is fluent or clear in pronunciation from just text? Well, after a very long back and forth with ChatGPT, which I'm gonna spare you of, I think I found some answers. When you upload speech, ChatGPT and Gemini too, first use a transcription system like Whisper to convert audio into text. But that's not plain text. They also get timestamps. And this means the model knows when each word was spoken and how long the pauses were. And from that, it can figure out your speech rate, basically how fast you're talking, or how often you correct yourself. It can also see where you paused and decide, was it a natural content-related hesitation, or was it a signal of language difficulty? This is how it approximates fluency. And pronunciation? Well, that's even more interesting. IELTS examiners usually use something called the intelligibility test. They ask themselves, Do I have to work to understand this speaker, or is it effortless? AI has a version of that too. The transcription models like Whisper use what's called a confidence score. If Whisper struggles to decode what you're saying, this score drops, meaning your pronunciation isn't very clear. And if it transcribes you easily, confidence is high, meaning your pronunciation is crisp and easy to follow. Honestly, when I first heard this, I thought, yeah, that actually makes perfect sense. And in theory, an LLM should be able to give us a decent estimate of our IELTS speaking score. Or at least that it has the potential to do so. But that's not what we've seen with Alia's test. But I thought maybe that was just one case. So let's test the AI on a wide range of tests, different levels, different accents, and as far as I could find, ChatGPT and Gemini are the only two LLMs that have this built-in speech-to-text interpretation. So I kept my testing limited to these two and ran more tests. First up, Anna. Listen to this answer.
To be honest, I like to go on holidays. After my exams, I prefer to have a short road trips.
ChatGPT gave Anna a band 7. Actually, the same as for Alia earlier. Gemini, a band 5. The examiner's score is a band 6. So here we've got the models pulling in opposite directions. One too generous, the other too harsh. And let's concentrate on the overall scores from now on, because I've discovered that the scores for the 4 criteria are usually quite close together. So I run more tests. Eric. ChatGPT gave him a 7, Gemini 6, the examiner 5.5. So ChatGPT overscored him by a band and a half. That's massive. Now, Max. ChatGPT is 7, Gemini 6, Examiner 6.5. Honestly, this one is not too bad. It's pretty close. And then Tina. Both ChatGPT and Gemini gave her a 6. The Examiner, a 7. So in her case, the AIs actually underscored her by 1 full band. But there is an ultimate way to see how good these models are. Let me upload answers from my good friend Scarlett. Listen to one of them.
I think I mainly see adverts to do with products, whether that be perfume or biscuits. It could be anything, but it's normally product-based rather than experience-based, I would say.
Let's hear what ChatGPT would give her.
Fluency and coherence, 7.0. You maintain a smooth and natural flow throughout your responses, with well-organized thoughts and only minor hesitations. Lexical resource, 7.0. Use a good range of vocabulary to express your ideas clearly and naturally, especially when discussing decision-making and advertising. Grammatical range and accuracy, 7.0. Your grammar was generally accurate with a variety of sentence structures and only a few minor slips. Pronunciation, 7.0. Your pronunciation was clear and easy to understand with natural intonation. Overall band score, 7.0.
ChatGPT, why did you give Scarlett a band 7 for fluency?
You were very fluent, but there were just occasional minor pauses or moments where the flow wasn't quite as seamless as a band 9 would be.
Do you think those hesitations were language related?
Actually, those slight hesitations seemed more about thinking through ideas rather than struggling for language. Even native speakers sometimes pause to organize their thoughts, especially on complex topics.
Let's talk about pronunciation. Why did you give a band 7 and not a band 9?
A band 9 is basically someone who sounds almost like a fully proficient native speaker with no noticeable issues at all.
So you're saying it wasn't quite native-like, but you've just heard a native speaker who was born and lived all her life in England. That's enough, I think. And Gemini?
Fluency and coherence, Band 6. Lexical resource, Band 6. Grammatical range and accuracy, Band 6. Pronunciation, Band 7. Overall, I'd give this candidate a Band 6.
A band 6? Honestly? Well, no questions. So we have two advanced AI systems, both saying she's a 6 or 7, while a human examiner and common sense both say she's a 9. If you look at the results overall, you see that ChatGPT gave almost the same score to every student. Someone scored 5.5 and someone who scored a 9. ChatGPT still gives a 7. Gemini does a better job at spreading the scores, but it still struggles, especially with higher level candidates. And the pattern we see when LLMs assess IELTS speaking is very different from what we saw with writing essays, which is what this video is about. And the lesson for today is untrained AI can help you practice, but it can't replace a human examiner, not even close. Good luck with your preparation and your exam. Bye!